The Catholic Church, a sacred power or a haven for abusers. The Catholic Church has long been seen as the spiritual institution guiding millions of faithful toward faith, hope, and salvation. However, over the years, the crimes committed within it, especially the sexual abuse of minors by priests, have raised deeply disturbing questions. If the Church is the body of Christ, how is it possible that so many of its members, including priests, have been responsible for acts of violence and abuse? And why, despite the severity of these crimes, has the Church so often protected the perpetrators while maintaining silence about these atrocities? The sanctity of the Vatican, a myth collapsing under the weight of abuse. For centuries, the Vatican has been regarded as a sacred place, a symbol of purity and righteousness. The Pope, the successor of St. Peter, is venerated by millions of Catholics around the world as their vicar of Christ on earth. But how can an institution that claims to uphold justice and truth be the stage for systematic sexual abuse, harassment, and violence against children and the vulnerable? The Vatican has tried to preserve its image as a holy and untouchable institution. Yet in recent decades, the truth has come out with devastating clarity. Thousands of victims of sexual abuse by priests have been ignored, silenced, and forgotten, protected by a church more concerned with its reputation than with justice. Victims of pedophile priests have spoken out for years about the inhumane treatment they endured, but only recently has the full horror behind the wall of silence begun to emerge. The protection of pedophile priests, a shame that persists. One of the most horrifying aspects of the abuse crisis in the Church is how the institution has systematically protected pedophile priests, moving them from parish to parish instead of reporting them to civil authorities. The cover-up strategies adopted by high-ranking church officials, including some popes, have allowed abusers to remain free and continue to inflict irreparable harm on innocent lives. One of the most emblematic cases is that of Father Maciel, founder of the Legionaries of Christ. Maciel was not only accused of sexually abusing minors, but also of psychological abuse and manipulation. Despite numerous allegations, the Church protected him for decades. Pope John Paul II ignored reports of abuse and even praised Maciel, elevating him within the Church. It was only under Pope Benedict XVI that action was finally taken to remove Maciel, but not before countless lives were scarred by his crimes. More recently, under the leadership of Pope Francis, the Church has begun taking some steps toward justice. However, many question his true willingness to confront the issue. Despite public condemnations of abuse, the Vatican continues to protect abusive priests, sometimes transferring them to remote countries where they can avoid prosecution and continue to harm children. Pope Leo XVI, a new hope or just another disappointment? The new Pope, Pope Leo XVI, has sparked hope among the faithful. But his stance on sexual abuse within the Church remains ambiguous. His rise to the papacy has yet to demonstrate a real commitment to confronting the dark side of the Church. Some reports suggest that Leo XVI has taken limited action regarding abusive priests, but his efforts so far have not been bold or effective enough. The question remains, will this Pope finally break the wall of silence that has protected pedophile priests for decades? Or will he be yet another Pope who pretends to address the problem while doing very little in practice? While there have been steps toward more transparency, including the establishment of a commission for abuse victims, the results are far from satisfactory. How can someone who represents Christ on earth tolerate the pain inflicted on the innocent by those who are supposed to be agents of goodness and light? The Vatican's shame, who is truly being protected? The Catholic Church appears to have chosen to protect its most powerful members, priests and bishops, at the expense of the weakest, children, youth, and the poor. The stories of sexual abuse remain shrouded in silence, because what really matters is preserving the image of the Vatican, not justice for the victims. The idea of the sacred is used to hide the indefensible, to protect criminals dressed as men of faith. The children of God, the victims of sexual abuse, are forgotten, left alone in the darkness of trauma and suffering. Meanwhile, pedophile priests are not punished. They are transferred, sheltered, and too often tolerated until their deaths, continuing to cause harm along their way. This is the shame of an institution that claims to represent the supreme good. The Church must protect its faithful, especially the most vulnerable, but it has failed miserably in this mission. Its complicity in abuse is a permanent stain that cannot be erased with words of apology or vague promises. Justice for the victims can no longer be postponed. Conclusion: a demand for justice. The Vatican cannot be called sacred if its walls are filled with silence and complicity. The Catholic Church is not truly serving Christ if it allows its representatives to violate his teachings. The time has come to break the silence. The time has come for Pope Leo XVI and the Catholic Church to face their dark past and take a clear, uncompromising stand against sexual abuse. The children of God, those who were abused, deserve justice and protection, not the Church's silence. The truth must come to light. Justice must be served. And the hope for a better future for the Church, one that truly honors its faithful, can only exist if the institution confronts its past with courage, humility, and action. We cannot allow this shame to continue. Justice must prevail.